how did we get here? Right? One of Black America in particular's favorite couple, apparently there was rumors of them being on the rocks, right? Apparently, I think it came from, there was Jimmy Carter's funeral that happened. There was Trump's inauguration that happened. And on both occasions, Michelle was not with Barack. I think a little bit before then, there might have been like some rumor that came out of nowhere about Jennifer Aniston and Barack having a fling. You know what I'm saying? And then eventually, I forgot the lady's name whose podcast Michelle was on. She addressed the rumors about, the whole divorce situation. And she was saying, something, and I'm paraphrasing, go look it up. She was saying that, hey, I just had other things going on at the time, which is why I did not make those two events. And it was crazy how I guess a woman can't miss two events. And I guess people don't automatically assume there's trouble in her relationship, right? As far as divorce rumors. But to be fair, though, if I'm not mistaken, Barack also, I guess, was doing a podcast and was talking about it. And he kind of mentioned how, after the presidency and his presidency, that he had to spend a lot of time making up to Michelle because during the presidency, unfortunately, I guess, he wasn't there. He was out there doing the president thing. And so I guess people kind of felt like, okay, is there something going on? I'm not sure how much people are seeing them in public in general. I guess as a public couple, people might expect to see y'all together. So what are your thoughts? I mean, do you think that she adequately addressed the rumors? Do you think that the rumors were much to do about nothing? Could it be possible that things may not be going swimmingly in the Obama household? What are your thoughts about Black America's favorite presidential couple?
I think it's more likely than not. It's a big to do about nothing. I mean, we've all had that, especially if you're married. We have to be two places at once. I don't know if it's a funeral and another life event, or a wedding or something, a recital. Like, I'll go here and represent us. You go over there and represent us, and it happens all the time. Yeah, death of Jimmy Carter, that's pretty big, and inauguration, that's pretty big too. But I think it's perfectly legit that it's more than likely a schedule conflict, and she had to go do her thing, and he had to go represent. And I'm pretty sure they've been in the public eye long enough. They're well aware of what it would look like. Oh, if it's just me, people are going to talk, or just the optics of it. So I'm sure they had that discussion, and that was thought through. And like, look, we just can't make this work. I'm going to go here, you go there, and it'll just be what it is. So to me, that's the more likely scenario. I haven't heard anything else about the whole Jennifer Aniston thing. I mean, possible, but it seemed like it's a dead thing because it's just been dropped. We haven't heard anything else about it, but that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think it's a story. I think it's a non-story trying to be a story. I think the absence of something is not proof that something was there before. You got to look at the fact that he's no longer president. So when you're president, yes, your wife is first lady and she's expected to be with you because everything you do is work. It's always state this, state that. So, everybody's got to show up for work. He's no longer president. He's a past president. He's off doing his retirement thing, whatever that is, and she's doing her retirement thing, whatever that is. And if you look at their relationship, she set out in the beginning saying she had a life that she wanted to lead that did not want to be disturbed by the attention and the demands and the scheduling of a presidency. She didn't want to compete with all of that. So now that they're no longer in the office, it's fair for her to be somewhere else doing her thing when it's not really his job to be in a place anyway. Right? So I don't think she's letting him down. I think she's being true to form. She's finally in a place where she can go off and do some Michelle stuff. You know what I mean? He can do his Barack stuff. When he needs her, I'm sure she'll be there. The fact that people think he can't go do something without her next to him is demeaning and emasculating. Let the man go. He can, if they're a power couple, they should be able to go do two different things at the same time. If they're a power couple, he's wasting Michelle by having her at his hip when she could be going off doing some things. If they're a power couple, if Michelle is who everybody says she is, and I'm not saying she's not, but I'm saying there's not a story here. There's no division. What you're seeing, hopefully, is a family that is also a political machine that is evolving so that they realize now that they can, like they did on the campaign trail, they can be in two different places and still be on the same page and still be enacting their plan as a family. So yeah, man, give them space, give Michelle space. Did she answer the question right? I think she answered as well as she could. If she'd ignored it, people would have said it was a story. But she had to give it context. I think the timing of what Barack said just kind of fed the flames or whatever. But if you look at it, what he was talking about at the time wasn't even about that. He was saying, look, if you're going to have something outstanding in your life, if you're going to be amazing at something has to get sacrificed. And he said, look, you know what got sacrificed to be a great president? If you guys say I'm a great president, it was my relationship with my wife, because I couldn't be Mr. Barack Obama to her all the time because I had to be the president all the time or more. So I'm saying it's not a story, man. Y'all let them people breathe. People always trying to break up happy black homes over some BS. There's no story here. Go follow 600 Breezy.
Not 600 Breezy.
600 Breezy.
So for me, the first thing I do believe is a much ado about nothing. But what I wanted to highlight was the difference of some things. And so the first thing I would say is this, is that, damn, she can't have her own goddamn life. You know, she spent all this time standing by, supporting. She raised a family. And then, you know, her kids are now, she's an empty nester. The woman is like 60. And she still can't move independently. So you're telling me that just because she wanted to move independently from her husband, that now we got to start these rumors of divorce, you know, outside of seeing the fact that she missed 2 or 3 events. So all of a sudden it's like, oh, she need to be lockstep and key 24/7? Let the man breathe. Shit, let her breathe. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes absence make the heart grow fonder. Now, I will acknowledge Barack said apparently not, because he put her in a deficit. He was in a deficit with her. And that may have been that 8 years that he was the president. But he acknowledged that. He said, you know, I'm doing things to make it fun for her again. He said he's trying to make it fun for her, make marriage fun. And at some point, we all have to make marriage fun for our spouse. And at the same time, we need to recognize that we need autonomy as women, that there needs to be autonomy in the relationship as well. Because some of the things that happen is that women sometimes lose their identity when they get married. And can you imagine, you're the first lady, of course your identity is 100% wrapped up into your husband identity as the president, right? Unless you're a certain current, I'm sorry, let me not say that. And so in which case you just disappear into the wind because you don't give no fucks. But a good first lady, she gonna be right there for him. So yeah, she was lockstep, and that could be exhausting for her. So she's taking the time to just focus on herself. She raised her kids. She was there for her husband during his pregnancy, whether she wanted to or not. She was there. And now she's like, give me my space, give me my time. There's things that I want to accomplish. And let's be honest, if not now, when? She's 60. So.
Ah, man, I'm trying to think. You said have a life, right? I was trying to think, like, so she had 2 dates. There's 365 days in a year. And so 2 of the biggest dates, yes, the inauguration is one of them. I mean, your husband did get inaugurated twice. And then Jimmy Carter, which I guess everybody beloved or whatever. And I guess you just had other things to do. You know, it's funny because I was trying to trade that day and the market even closed. Like, people were off from work that day. And so we're saying that, oh my God, to expect her to still to make a couple of dates is too much to ask. It means that she can't have her own life. Like, she wasn't also having her own life before, during, and after the presidency. And what exactly does that life look like? It's funny because she got time to make podcasts. That's how I saw one of the clips that she was on. You know what I'm saying? They out here signing $1 million deals, 9-figure deals, the Obamas are, in part because they were the former first family, right? So I get it. You know what I'm saying? In order to defend Michelle, we got to make it seem like we're asking her for too much. You know what I'm saying? Which I don't know that's the case. Now, if you're talking about people trying to discern if there's problems in their marriage, it's possible that maybe we weren't paying attention with the same lens that some of the people who are scrutinizing what could be going on, right? Because guess who else was there at these events? Every other nigga's wife was there. So if you're the one black president and your wife is not there, then yeah, people may start to have questions. Her resting bitch face doesn't help either, because people can always assume she got a problem, right? Come on, man. While she was sitting there chucking it up with fucking George Herbert Walker, whatever the fuck his name is, right? So miss me with this whole idea of, is it got a life? You know, at first, listen, let's be clear. right? When the president of Barack Obama and Michelle and those two young, lovely ladies stood on that stage, we loved them. They were Black. They instantly accomplished. So there's no question. Like for me, I'm like, damn, Michelle holding him down. Strong Black women. I'm not one of these niggas who got a problem with strong Black women. So let's be clear. Because even the strongest Black women get soft for a nigga, you dig what I'm saying? But the point is, I like that about her. Her strong jawline told me she could take a punch. Metaphorically is what I'm saying, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. It was all love. But sometimes when you look back with a second lens, you start to pick up on some things and you're like, hold up, wait a minute, right? Right? So, and that's why I'm like, there's a trope, right? No, I'm not even gonna go trope. I'm trying to just, because y'all all was sitting here, oh my God, yeah, she got her own life. But what if it's possible there are issues there in the relationship? Right? What if when Barack was saying, hey, I'm in a deficit, is because even right now, he feels like he is climbing himself out of a hole with his wife. Life is a journey up and down, bro. You signed up for the whole thing. I still got to pay you back for being president of the United States? I don't know. Maybe I hear things differently. That tells me you still holding some stuff, babe. We talked about this and I was successful and now I got to pay for the success that I had. That tells me she wasn't really down. Oh, wait, you know who told me that? She did. But I overlooked it because I was like, oh my God, Michelle. But now, once you know, it's like when the kids are grown and you start to look at the parents and see that they're moving differently. All that time, they were sitting there keeping it together for the kids. And then the kids leave and you start to see the shit for real, for real. So yeah, I get it. So maybe it's not enough information, but that there's not some information for people to guess whether or not there's marital issues because people are paying attention. You know what I'm saying? They're looking at the body movement. She didn't want to be there. You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine what it was like? You out there saving the world and you come home and you got to still deal with her fucking attitude? You know what I'm saying? It made me realize how important it is that men who have purpose, because we can't pretend like a dude who was a Harvard Law Review from his background didn't have some level of purpose in his life. She knew that when she met the nigga. And they're going to resent him for him living in his purpose. And then now in his twilight years, you mentioned she's 60. Why the fuck does he have to continue to pay in the twilight of his years for reaching his purpose?
So first,
I'm not done.
Sir,
you know what I'm saying?
I was rhetorical.
Go ahead.
My fault.
I mean, yeah, it was rhetorical.
Go ahead, then, since it was rhetorical.
I'm saying suppose that she does have an issue. I get neglect. I get certain things. People, military, have jobs that take them out of the home. It wasn't like he was at home playing video games. You knew what time it was, the job that he was signing up for, the mission that he had. You was cool when he was a community organizer. He was probably outside a lot too, didn't come with a lot of pay. But then all of a sudden, when that community organizers allowed him to help organize in the community in a larger fashion, now it's a problem? She had her mom there too. It wasn't like she didn't have some support. So I'm not even saying, it's not like she's like a single mom or a married woman who got to be at home taking care of things by herself. No, she had a whole fucking staff. Come on, man. If I come home from fucking saving the world, when I get there, all I need is about a good 15 minutes, man. Don't be giving me no bullshit because you want to give me attitude. I'm over here talking to Ching Nung Yong trying to save some fucking trade deal and you pissed. I'm 15 minutes late. She looked like she was giving that nigga hell. You know what I'm saying? Low key. And then it hit me. Because when the nigga got purpose in his life, can you imagine how much greater of a president he would have been if Michelle really supported him for real, for real? Because if she did, what would she resent? What would be there to resent? Oh my God, honey, we did our big one. We helped save the world. Let's ride out in the sunset together. I love you. Oh my God, our kids are leaving. It's a great time. Why the fuck is she still scowling? And why does Barack have to pay for it? Because he wanted to help change the world for the better. Fellas, when you pick your queen, make sure she understands your purpose is paramount. If she can't celebrate your wins, if she can't take sacrifices and make sacrifices for you to reach your fucking purpose and pretend to do so, you might still end up having to pay for it on the back end. And that's what's happening to Baraka back then and right now, man. Stop playing.
You making a whole bunch of assumptions. Let me just go ahead and say what I was going to say when you was making asking your rhetorical questions and whatnot. That didn't sound so rhetorical to me. You making a bunch of assumptions in regards to what their relationship was like. Now I will acknowledge that she did herself acknowledge that she had a conversation with him about why she was not comfortable with him becoming the president or running for office. But that's a conversation that you should have had with your wife.
He did.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And so with her expressing, so what you're doing is penalizing for her expressing her trepidation for the amount of scrutiny and so forth. That's what it sounds like. You're making a whole lot of assumptions.
Listen, did you read her autobiography?
No, sir. But
okay,
I
cool,
did read I did hear the interview that you did.
This, right? What I'm saying is, right, forget me for a second. There are people who probably have more information, right? Yes or no? And that's rhetorical. And so those people are gathering different pieces of them living more in the public light, communicating what's going on with them. You're seeing how they move. You're seeing certain things. So I don't think this is coming out of whole cloth. You get what I'm saying? I'm sorry, I don't. And we know it's a thing when couples get older, mature, kids leave the home. And we also don't think about the impact of even the presidency itself, right? That's a big thing. So I'm not even knocking if it does actually develop into a divorce, because honestly, I would still think their marriage was a success. I'm not one of those people who feel like because you got divorced, you should have never got married. No, I think sometimes, maybe relationships don't work out. And I would not take away from what they did necessarily in terms of their time. But if they decided as two adults to move on because it's no longer working for them, I don't want them staying together for my sake or for some sake of what it looks like. If y'all are not happy, don't be happy. But we can't also pretend like there's already conversations about men living in their purpose, or about how women leave relationships when they're not happy, or the sacrifices that men make in terms of not only trying to take care of the home, but also to provide outside the home. Or, you know what I'm saying? These are all things that are legitimate. So even if we were to move Barack and Michelle to the side, I think to me, there's enough evidence there to where I could see there being an issue. Right? Because again, I get if you're a romantic dude, you're like, yo, man, I wasn't able to spend time. I get it. Barack's probably on that type of time 100%. Right? But I'm saying to you that I think people are seeing things, and it would not surprise me if more were to come down the pike. And then when we have this or if we were to have this conversation again, I'm telling you that I think sometimes when you're a man living in purpose, it becomes very difficult because yes, that woman that you talked to in the beginning was down, but things change and she wants different things. So now you got to sit there. Luckily, you didn't have to choose between his purpose. But then once you get into the position and you're doing the best that you can, and you know what you signed up for. So then after that, I got to sit there and make it up to you to a certain extent, or you got attitude like, bro, and I'm going to be honest. If I had those 2 dates, I'm expecting my wife to be there. What the fuck else do you have to do, boo? Or am I going to be cool with you doing it, right? Because I feel like I owe you. That nigga going to be living in like fucking, servitude forever if that's the mindset that's going to be in the situation. Because guess what? There are a lot of niggas, even presidents too, who are sitting there living in lives like that. You know what I'm saying? We got to be honest, yo. Shit happens, even if it's not necessarily happening to them. But guys who signed up for the program, had the conversations, out there living their purpose, doing whatever, and then she decides, oh, maybe it's too much or whatever, maybe it's a lot, and then want to sit there and make him pay for it for the rest of his life. Man, fuck that. Fuck that. He's old too. And he deserves some fucking happiness.
I still think you're making some assumptions though, but that's cool because that's what we're here for. We're here to put our opinions out in the ether and whatnot and get it all off. So I understand why you're making these, because all relationships, as you pointed out, in as part of your assumptions, but this part is true. All relationships have their ups and downs, right? All relationships have ebbs and flows. There may be times where she was deficit, he was in deficit. I think the fact that he used the term deficit may be slightly telling because he used the term deficit to describe why he feel like he has to make things up to her. But at the same time,
very precisely his words.
But at the same time, I also feel like you are using some anti-blackness on here too. I'm going to tell you why though.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you why. Because you talked about her resting bitch face and attitude multiple times because to me, it just correlated to a black woman automatically meant she had attitude when she got back. She had her resting bitch face automatically equate to her having attitude when sometimes that could just be how a sister face is. Sometimes that's just how a face is. Some black women have resting bitch face, period. And so, but we automatically equate that to attitude because that's what we associate with black women in general. So in addition to your assumptions, I was like, yo, this sounds like some of these tropes that you say you wasn't going to throw out, but you technically low-key throwing that trope out about the angry black woman because that's what that rests with, right? With the attitude and the resting bitch face. So I acknowledge that you are correct. There are some things that we're not seeing. And I will also acknowledge that there are some wordplay, i.e. the use of deficit, which can speak to his point of view where he's making something up because he's in the hole with her, right? But I also will say that at the end of the day, she got to live her own life still. I still rest on the fact that I think that sometimes people have a problem with her being independent now that she's no longer the first lady. So there's a problem with her being independent. I don't hear nobody talking about, what's her name, Melena, and the fact that she hardly ever show up. And when she do show up, she flipping her husband hand like, or she walking ahead of him. I'm just saying, like, there's other things, and I think that this is being blown out of proportion. Now, if they end up getting divorced, then I will agree as well that this was a great relationship. I think they've been married for like 33 years or something like that. And so I will agree with that. But I also think that right now we're just jumping to too many conclusions for her not attending an event. And I had a friend tell me that life is too short to go to shit I don't want to go to and hang with people I don't want to hang with. And she said this because I invited her to some place with some people who she did not like. And I was like, well, you're just coming to be with me and hang out with me. And she said, yeah, but you're hanging out with people who I don't like. Life is too short. And that's what she told me. Life is too short to do shit you don't want to do or hang with people you don't like. And let's be honest, that's exactly what she would have been doing.
That's a bad example, S&M. That's a bad example.
Well, you're saying it's a bad example because I used a friend versus husband and wife.
Thank you. Come on, man. Stop playing. You've been to stuff probably recently with your husband that he didn't want to go to because he was your husband. You went to it, or vice versa. Men do that shit all the time. And I'm sorry. Listen, let me move you aside because you're not a man. And I guess I get it. No, for real. Like listen, I play the deference game. You know what I'm saying? Hey, my wife, you know what I'm saying? You know, she rules my universe and all that other kind of shit, right? There's some niggas who do that and they really be on that type of time. And there's some niggas who do it because it's part of the game, right? Like, you know, Steph Curry might say, yeah, you know what, God gave me these skills, use my teammates. But the truth is, he's the one that went out there and scored 57 fucking points, okay? Right? So what I'm saying is, I could look at Barack and tell you he's a ladder. So when he was actually saying it, right, it was some truth to it. I can see that type of behavior. It wasn't just him, you know, just being cute. No. Going into it, he was paying for that deficit from jump. You know what I'm saying? From jump. And he's still paying it is what I'm saying. You dig what I'm saying? There's some guys who say it and that's what it is. There's some guys who say that's not really what it is. They're just giving it the little proper due and respect. And I'm telling you, from what I could tell, he's further. So what I'm willing to probably put a stake on though, is that she still feels some type of way about all that and he is still having to deal with it. I'd put money on that. Now, the level of which they're dealing with it, whether it's divorce or otherwise, it remains to be seen. But I just feel like we're in a new age, y'all. Things are changing and evolving. More people are getting divorced as they go along. They're not staying together just because they have to be together anymore. So I would not be surprised if more is revealed. And if it does get revealed that she, in fact, or they do get, in fact, divorced, then I want y'all to be like, you know what? Not that I was wrong. I want you to say, Nick, you was right. You know what I'm saying? We'll never know necessarily the reason, right? Because there's a difference between admitting that you're wrong and admitting that I'm right. And as much as I appreciate a person taking accountability for being wrong, I think I like being right a little bit better. It could be like a sandwich of both of those things. I wish them the best because low-key, I fuck with both of them. But honestly, though, and S&M, to push back on your last point, it's resting. I think somebody was saying something about a statistic about how resting bitch face affects people's health and shit like that. You dig what I'm saying? Like, it's not like, it's possible she actually could feel upset about a thing and her face betrayed her. It's completely possible. This idea of leaning on anytime a nigga say something that might be specific about a person. I didn't say all black women, but I'm identifying that every time I've seen what was a scowl on her face, I thought to myself, she's mad. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't help that while she was the first lady, there was a lot for her to probably feel upset about. People were talking about her hair, her arms, and how she was wearing her clothes. So I get that. You dig what I'm saying? And listen, my wife has a face that sometimes causes me to ask her, is she okay? You know what I'm saying? But the truth is, and I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be real vulnerable. Like sometimes when her mood is shifting, the reason why I ask her, is she all right, is because my mood has shifted. Like, she has the ability to shift my mood. So I tap in with her to see if she's all right. Because if she's not all right, then my whole brain is going to switch up a little bit, right? The other day she called me, hey, can you come outside? I'm thinking something is up. So I have a certain level of reception with her, right? So what I'm saying is that y'all discount how certain things affect us. And sometimes, especially, God bless that it's just a face thing and not like a woman thing, right? But those types of things affect us men. Maybe it's just me. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't take for granted the level of how lack of support shows itself and how it can grate over time, especially when you juxtapose that with what would seem as a noble thing, which is to want to be president of the United States. Not only that, but the first Black president of the United States. Not only that, but somebody who's been trying to make a difference from day one. So how are you holding that thing in any way, shape, or form, even a little bit? Because maybe you didn't know the nigga that you married. That's Barry Hussein Obama that you married. And this many years later, you still tripping? All right, y'all, I got it. You know what I'm saying? I do think she's still tripping. Yeah, I'll stand on that one. 1,000%. Yeah. And what I try to do is some face exercises. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta live like that. You don't gotta live like that. Try smiling a little bit more. That's right, and Nick said it. Any last words before
This
anybody
my
else?
last word. This my last word. You know, a lot of women, we actually get upset when people tell us to smile more.
We
You know
can't
what I'm
win.
saying?
We call out the rest of bitch face. We problem solvers and solutions oriented. And now
No, it's because there's an expectation for women in general to be smiley, to be this jovial person.
Present.
And so that's where that originates. But anyways, moving on. Jay, I saw you pop off mic. Let's go ahead and pass it to you, sir.
No, man. No. I can't follow all of that. Was a lot. That was a lot. I will just say, yeah, I like Michelle. She all right. But you know, your choice of mate is either going to propel you toward where you're trying to go, or it's going to be the thing that holds you back, right? Which is why I am cautious about the dating and the marrying. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but timing is important. So all I'm saying is, I can't argue with Nick and his argument about purpose. I don't know if Michelle's holding him back. There's a lot of supposition in his whole argument, right? They might end up divorced. Honestly, by the time he finished talking, I was like, shit, maybe they are getting divorced because, he probably made a deal in Chicago that got him elected and she know about it. I got a whole novel I wrote in my head. So maybe, I don't know. But what I do know is this. I know it's not over until they say it's over. So everybody who believes in love and marriage and believes in them as a couple or them as individuals, right, should hopefully be pushing a narrative of unity and strength for the people that you believe in. Yeah.
Listen, man, I love and marriage, but I don't want people staying in marriages just for the fuck of it. At 33 years, they already got a W as far as I'm concerned. And if it's time,
that's a win.
And if it's time for them to move apart, like they had the kids and then became president, I am not mad at that. I'm not wishing for it, okay? But I just don't think people should necessarily stay in relationships after they already got the W just for the sake of staying in there. And you got to imagine, like, how many other presidents have been divorced? Have there been like other presidents, like past presidents or otherwise? I feel like has there been any of them?
I can't think of one.
Like at least in recent times, right? I mean, Hillary and still and them stay together. He got some head and she ain't going nowhere, right? Barack can't even get no head, right? But he's just
about her
anyways.
Man. Huh? She stood by her man.
She was standing by her goals, right? Hillary Clinton had purpose. Stop playing, okay?
Woman of purpose.
And Bill understood the assignment, kind of. Any final thought? Because he was tripping when he got caught with the whole head thing and leaving nut stains everywhere. But it's like, come on, fam. The presidential napkins are right.
Presidential towel.
Just lazy, sir.
The presidential baby wipes with the seal and everything, sir. They were right there. All you had to do was wipe off. Oh, and one last thing, though. Do y'all think that the Obamas are like any different than any other celebrity that people guesstimate or question whether or not they're in a relationship still? Like, doesn't this typically happen with almost every other celebrity? Like, aren't they still technically celebrities? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so why should it not happen to them? Right? If they profiting from their celebrity, then they got to deal with the backlash or the rumors that come with it. You know what I'm saying? And the one telling sign to me, and I don't know that I like that Michelle did this though, which is also why I feel like there's more to it. And I'll land with this as far as the story, then we can wrap up. But when she was telling, like, there are some times that it's not about, oh, a woman's representation. I get that. Maybe that's your bag all the time. But maybe it was simply, hey, this was an event that people expected the president and their wife to show up at. And when you did not show up at the event, it raised questions. Because guess what? You were at almost all the other events. It could be that simple. But when she did that, though, I kind of felt like, I get it, but it could have just been like a little red herring to kind of throw the conversation, because I don't know, how in depth she was going to allow the conversation to go. But it's easier to talk about how there's different expectations. Okay, in this case, you was the first lady. So yeah, your expectations in that description is going to show up differently, right? But if you're talking about women in general, it is a broader conversation to be had. But I think she tried to pull a rabbit out of her wahoo, and I'm going to say no to that. I'm going to say no. Like, woo, feminism. Well, yeah, well, what else? Racism. Whatever. She was just pulling all kinds of tricks out of her bag.